to the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Eric Lee and Lorenzo Ice-T.
What's going on, Lo? What's going on, Lo?
What's up, E. Lee? We are in the place to be. Got to give ourselves a round of applause.
There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go.
Start off the show the right way.
Yeah, absolutely, brother, absolutely. Welcome to the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast, where we do this each and every Tuesday night from 8 to 8:30, where we get a chance to talk about fantasy football from the Superflex leagues all the way down to the what we call the dynasty leagues. You name it, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. And if you're catching us on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button, definitely on YouTube, and do share. I'm your host, Eric Lee, along with who?
I am the LIT, the CIT, always on fire. I stay lit. Lorenzo Ice-T to the Thomas.
Amen. Well, we got a lot to talk about today, brother.
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about.
You got eliminated.
Yeah, I got eliminated. I'm in 4 leagues, and I got eliminated in 3 of them. So, But I did get eliminated in fantasy this week. It was crazy, man, because I wasn't going to start. What's my man in Detroit? I can't even think of his name. Quarterback.
I was about to say Matthew Stafford.
No.
Golf.
And he had a monster day.
Yes. So I would have started him. Definitely would have started him.
Over Justin Herbert?
I think so, because, going into that, just me being, to always come back to the Miami Dolphins. I didn't think San Diego was I didn't think they were going to beat Miami. So I didn't think Justin was going to have a big game. And who did the Lions play?
Lions played Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. Minnesota's defense is not that good. So I figured, and the Lions have been putting up points. Yeah. So yeah, I may have started Golf over Justin Herbert. And Herbert had a great game yardage-wise. Yeah. Because he was able to move the ball up and down the field against the Miami Dolphins defense, who wasn't able to get him off the field on 3rd down. Right. But he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns in that game.
That was the problem.
That was the problem.
That was the problem.
Right.
And I've been riding with them the whole year. So
and the Miami Dolphins defense basically bends but doesn't break. And a lot of the games where they've given up 30 points, it's been because at the end of the game, the wheels come off. The offense makes a turnover, and then the team returns it for a pick, for a pick six or a fumble. They didn't turn the ball over in that game. They only gave up 23 points to the San Diego Chargers, but Herbert looked great in that game. Yeah. But he just didn't score touchdowns.
Yeah, and that killed me. Yeah. It's, the cool thing about it is it's interesting. So I'm sure there are a number of you guys out there right now that are in playoffs, and some people have been eliminated. And if you're in Dynasty League, it's a little more intriguing because now we're thinking about the draft.
Yeah, and that's exactly the position that I'm in, and I got a good squad.
You put up more points than everybody in the league this week in a consolation game.
Yeah, and the reason why I didn't do well, the reason why I didn't make the playoffs is because I was number 2 with points scored against me, right. And then I had so many injuries on my roster, and I went down this week. I had 3. The injured reserves were full, and then I probably had 4 guys out on the bye. 2 of them were out, and then 4 other guys on my bench who were out as well. So, right. But then I scored 200 points by some of the moves that I made because I picked up the right players, basically. So, and I was able to score quite a few points with the fact that I had so many people injured. So, but that's what it comes down to: using the waiver wire to be able to start the best players so you can win in your leagues.
So Lorenzo and I have nothing but time to talk to you about who you should start and sit, because both of us are out of playoffs.
I'm still competing for the number 1 pick.
That's
so
right.
I'm still using that waiver wire without a doubt. I mean,
competing for the number 1 position.
It's almost like after I saw that you lost, I wondered. I said, now what would have been better, to make the playoffs and lose in the first week, or not make the playoffs and now compete for the number 1 pick? And I'm feeling good about the position that I'm in because it is a dynasty league. Right. So now I'm going to have I already got a good team. Now I'm going to be, hopefully, I can get the number one position, be in prime spot to be able to pick up, some of the best rookies that are going to be drafted in next year's draft.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that in this show. Not a whole lot,
right?
But because we got plenty of time to talk about the rookies that are coming out in next year's draft. But we want to address a couple of those guys tonight, especially the Heisman Trophy winner, as well as who Mel Kiper actually said should be the number one quarterback coming off the board next year. We're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, let's talk about. I got to give him his flowers right now. Mr. Irrelevant is now relevant. Literally, he is relevant.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad.
Right. Mr. Purdy.
Because Purdy showed up and showed out against my Miami Dolphins in that game where he replaced Jimmy. So I'm like, okay, was it a fluke or was it not? And Tampa Bay's defense is pretty good. You know what I mean? They're not as good as they were when they went on that Super Bowl run, but they still, play good defense. And the way he was able to, navigate the offense and cut them up and carve and then run on that, get that run for the touchdown against them on the scramble, be able to get those passes in those small windows against Tampa's defense, knowing that they're going to sit back there and play that Tampa 2 all day. Whereas when he was playing against Miami was blitzing them from all angles. He's able to get the ball out on time to his wide receivers. Purdy has showed up and definitely showed out. And it kind of shows everyone that the Kyle Shanahan offense can work if you just go ahead and play the offense the way that is designed. And he's actually more athletic than Jimmy Garoppolo. So he's able to extend plays and roll out of the pocket and do more things than Jimmy was able to do. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen next year when Trey Lance is coming back, supposedly to be the starter.
Yeah. The thing about it is Kyle Shanahan also said that Jimmy G's coming back. They think Jimmy G's going to come back. So when Jimmy G comes back, do you put him back in the lineup or do you evaluate how Purdy is playing? Because most of the time you don't lose your starting position to an injury, right?
Yeah, I mean, they got to say that because of the deal that they made it comes back to the Miami Dolphins. When you give up 3 first-round draft choices for Trey Lance, which the Miami Dolphins turned into Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Waddle, you got to say that regardless.
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about this year. For Jimmy G's supposed to come back this year to be able to play in the playoffs.
I mean, but if Purdy keeps playing like this, you're not going back to Jimmy G.
You don't go back to Jimmy G?
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay. All right.
No, you don't. You can't.
Don't.
If he keeps playing the way
he's playing lights out right now.
But he's playing right now better than Jimmy was.
Yeah. He's not making the mistakes either.
And these 2 games, right. That's exactly right. So, and he's more mobile than Jimmy G. So I wouldn't break it up,
If you were out there looking for a quarterback, I mean, because we didn't suggest that you pick up Purdy to start, but he looks like a valuable QB1 right now if you need one.
Right. Especially if you're going for it, or if you're in those consolation games and so on and so forth. If you're looking for some players, and then Kyler Murray just got hurt last night.
Talk about that.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is out. So if he's available, I would definitely pick him up. But in our league, he went quick, fast, in a hurry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So once again, if you are checking us out, feel free to shout us out in the chat line. We'd like to say hello to you. If you're checking us out on Facebook, do hit the like button. If you're catching us out on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Shout out to Miami Sports Music for hosting us on the platform. Steve, thank you.
Solo D, thank you.
Absolutely. Got a question, man.
What's that?
The Cowboys, are they the paper tigers? Cowboy fans, do chime in because we know you're out there. Are they the paper tiger?
I mean, really, the question comes down to how well has Dak played since he's returned? He
hadn't been totally
I know. And I hear the Cowboy fans. We've scored X amount of points, and some of those are off of turnovers, defensive scores, and so on and so forth. But when you look at the way that he's played over the past few games, and you compare him to the elite quarterbacks, it's not on the same level. And then they've played down to the level of the competition. So the question is going to be, when they play and the elite teams, are they going to play up? because they for 3 quarters, they didn't look good against Indianapolis. They basically should have if the Texans score a touchdown at the end of that game is over. You know what I mean? They're going to win that game if they score a touchdown, but you're playing the 1-10-1 Texans at that particular time. So they have not played to the level that people assume them to be. They assume that they're on the elite level, and they haven't really shown that they are elite teams based on the way they played on the field. You're supposed to blow the Texans out. It goes back to the Dolphins. What did the Dolphins do to the Texans in the first half? The first half of their game. They put 30 on them. That's what you're supposed to do.
And I think what I'm saying? You're watching all of the pundits vacillate between week to week. Oh, they're ready to go to the Super Bowl. They look legit.
Yeah.
I don't know. They stunk up the field. They won the game, but they still stunk up the field. So when they play somebody like San Francisco, because if the playoffs started today, they'd have to travel to San Francisco.
And
they win in San Francisco.
Can they win on the road? How well can they win on the road? And I loved Herm Edwards. I think he was on First Take today where I saw him, and he was like letting them have it. They're
gave it to him.
Oh my goodness. They were like in the last 15 years or the last 15 playoff games, they are 4-11. He's like, you talking Super Bowl. Y'all need to win a playoff game first before you start talking Super Bowl. And Stephen A was just like,
I love Herm.
Yeah, Herm, brother. I'm glad he's back. And he looked the same. Right. Look like he hasn't aged since he left to go coach in college. He's come back and
Arizona.
In Arizona. So I'm glad to see him back. He looks good. And he's pulling for those Eagles. So of course,
I'm sure he is.
Of course, he's going to talk down to the Cowboys, but he brought up some valid points. Now, those teams that you are better than, you're supposed to beat them. You're supposed to beat them down easily.
Right. So if you're checking us out and you have any questions about your lineup, feel free to put it in the chat. We will address those a little later on in the program. Feel free to do that. But right now, we're going to talk about what's going on in the NFL in terms of the injuries, man. Did you watch the game last night?
I actually saw when he got hurt.
The third play of the game?
Third play of the game. He's rolling out, using his legs. Like he normally does, plan it, and then boom, it just went out. And then I think it was Jordan from the New England Patriots. He signaled over to the sideline and said, "Come get him." He knew he was done. It was a torn ACL.
What's interesting is that
non-contact. Non-contact injury. Yeah.
And I thought about it because they kept saying, "Well, you know what? All of this artificial turf, and no, it wasn't artificial turf. That's grass that they have there." So
and the way he went down and the way he reacted is like he knew. So I don't know. Maybe he had been dealing with something that he knew he that was partially torn, because I don't know. Maybe he'd been having some problems with it. It's like he knew immediately that this thing is done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I feel bad for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. He relies so much on his speed and being elusive. He's probably going to miss most. Yeah, he's going to miss, and he's going to miss the majority of the season because that rehab is going to take you a good year. So similar to an Achilles tendon, those things take time to heal, and we're so far into the season. So Cardinals are going to have a situation at quarterback because he may not come until the end of the season.
Yeah, you got Colt McCoy. So the question is, do they?
But he got his money.
Yeah, he got his money.
He got his money. So all the ballers are like, "Yo, okay, you got hurt, but he's gonna get his money." You know what I mean?
His money.
There's too many times where the owners just let you go, boom, and just dispose of you, and you don't have your money. So now, and there's so many players that come back and play hurt, and then end their career. So, which now you guys say, Lamar, what you going to do? What you going to do?
I thought about.
Yep. What you going to do? You know what I mean? So.
All right. Deebo. That was a tough one.
And it looked bad. It looked, basically they said he still may come back for the playoffs. Right. But it looked bad because his foot got caught under that defender. And I mean, when I see that sometimes I got to turn away from the TV because I can only imagine how much pain that that must he must have been dealing with because of the way his foot got caught and got bent back. So it was a bad, ugly looking injury, but fortunately for him, and even you can see in the picture here, Tom Brady's clapping it up for him. So if the 49ers want to make that Super Bowl run, they're going to need him. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. But it's interesting that even though he got hurt, Kyle Shanahan still found a way.
Yeah.
Kept offense going through McCaffrey, Kittle, and everybody else that he puts in place, right? So, I think Kyle can, I'm sure he would much rather have Deebo in the squad. But his offense, man, is almost plug and play for those guys.
Well, I mean, the bottom line, if they're going to do anything, it's going to be because of their defense.
Oh, yeah.
The Buccaneers, I'm not sure how they scored that touchdown in the second half, but they shut them out in the first half.
Right.
So basically, they may have let up a little bit in the second half, but they held, Tom Brady, even though they haven't been lighting it up, they held him to 7 points. There's only been one team that scored over 20 points against that defense, and that's been the Kansas City Chiefs. Miami Dolphins scored 17 against them and probably could have scored a couple of more. Had Tua just connected with some passes, but their defense is what's going to be the thing that's going to take them to the Super Bowl. And the only offense that Dallas's offense is decent, but you have to be worried really about Philadelphia right now. They're the ones that's putting up the points. So
Philly looks solid. So I mean, if you got Jalen Hurd on your fantasy team,
oh man,
thumbs up.
Yeah.
If you got Mr. Brown, thumbs up.
Right.
I mean, Sanders, thumbs up. I mean, they putting up points at every position just about.
Yeah. They're doing a great job.
Showed out this week.
Yeah, I mean, they just have so many weapons, so it's going to be kind of hard to contain them. But when you have a defense like San Francisco, that can put pressure on the quarterback, and they have linebackers that can fly. Right. So when you're going up against Jalen Hurts, you're going to need, running backs that can run with him, or at least try to. And San Francisco with Warner and the other linebacker, I can't remember his name right now. They've got linebackers with speed, so they can match up pretty well against San Francisco's offense.
We'll see. But man, another one that hit the ground.
Woo. And Mike White, he took some hits.
He took a beating.
Woo. So I was watching the game in real time.
Yeah.
And you're talking about sometimes you'll see quarterbacks throw the ball and kind of turn their body, as the defender is coming so he can't hit him flesh on. Mike's got to learn how to release and spin or turn. Mike just stood there. Boom.
He took that heat.
Oh, my God. And straight to the ribs. Twice.
Took him to the hospital.
Oh, my God. Shoulders right here. And man, but he got up, came right back out there and finished the game. I believe he finished the game. Yeah, he came back out there twice. He got knocked out or knocked to the sidelines, came out. So, this is his chance to shine. And he's taking advantage of it.
He's not going to play next week, though.
Oh, they announced that. So who's playing?
Flacco. Yeah. The crazy thing about it, they didn't bring back Zach.
I know. And so who are the Jets playing next week?
Don't know. I got to check that out. Definitely got to check that out.
I can find that out right now.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing about it is Mike White. I mean, he's been balling out of control.
They're playing Detroit. They're going to need to score points.
Yeah, because Detroit's going to put points up. Detroit is going to put points up.
Well, it's in New York.
Okay.
So
if it's cold and windy outside, it may make a difference.
Yeah. And the Jets defense, with Sauce over there can that's gonna be an interesting matchup. Jefferson against Sauce. You should be looking. So are you playing any more games or you're done? Because
I'm done.
Oh my goodness.
Done. I'm done.
Oh, I'm still
done.
Playing.
I'm done.
All right, so when this is like inside conversation, so when you're going to set up the lineups, when you're going to move us over into the bracket, you haven't done it yet.
Oh, I don't do that. The computer does that.
What?
Yeah,
the computer waiting on, man. I'm ready to set my lineup, man. I'm ready to go. I got my waiver set.
I thought they would have done that by now. Maybe they do it on Wednesday.
Yeah, man, they probably do it after the waiver wire goes.
So, after the waiver wire goes. So if you're out and about and you're checking us out here, we talk about fantasy football. We talk about real football at the same time, either from Superflex League. I think Lorenzo just fell out. He sure did. If you're checking us out, sure, Lorenzo will be coming back. If you are playing in a Superflex league where you're having more, there you go. He's back. Hold on for a second. You back?
Yeah, man. I just went over here to click the comments. I see there's no comments coming through.
Okay. Well, somebody needs to make some comments.
Yeah, now normally we have more comments. Are we connected to Miami Sports Music?
We're connected to everybody.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
Everybody.
I went to refresh the browser and forgot that I was going to knock myself out. Okay,
knocked you right off.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Sure
once again, if you're out there and about, if you see us, check us out and hit us up in the comment section. If you have a question about your current lineup and whether to start them and sit them, we know that a number of folks are starting their playoffs, or some people are in their second weeks of playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm in a league now that we're starting our very first week, which is still over my head why we're starting it this week, because we'll be playing all the way into week 18.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we have to consider. We got to get the owners together, because since the NFL extended the season, the regular season schedule, a lot of fantasy football leagues back their playoffs up a week to the 15th. So just imagine you'd probably still be playing had you chose to do that, Commissioner.
Hey, man, look, I just didn't want people to play. I didn't want people playing in week 18 when everybody's we're resting all of their players.
But just remember, at week 18, it's just two people left. So those two people get to choose from whoever's left. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to week 14, where you got 6 teams on the bye and everyone's kind of struggling. You got more. If you got 6 teams that make the playoffs, now you got 6 teams struggling to fill their lineups. If you have 8 teams, you're still struggling because so many teams on the bye.
You know what? We'll check next year to see how the NFL lines up with this, because I'm pretty sure as part of what makes the NFL so intriguing for so many people is because of fantasy sports. Because not only do men play it, we've got women in the league that just as vicious and bout it as any man that ever played this game.
That is so true. And women pay close attention to details.
Oh yeah, they play close attention to everything. They got he on a bye. We'll make sure we take care of that.
Yep.
Let's talk about the future, brother.
Okay.
Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, USC. I watched that guy play when he played at Oklahoma. And his coach left to go to USC, followed him there. Went 11-2, but he can't go pro until next year.
Right.
He killed it this year, but he's got to sit.
Right.
Got to sit. But he did say he was making sure that he said to his team, they've got something unfinished business to take care of. And he brought his whole offensive line to the actual ceremony. I was like, yo, he know what he's doing.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Now, how could he afford to do that?
Man, that's USC. Hold on. And look, the sports information director was there with him. So you know how that went. You know how that goes.
Right. I'm just poking the bear. Yeah, man.
And listen, and the thing about it is he's a big kid. He threw for he killed the records this year. Mm-hmm. So everybody's just waiting for him. But I was watching Mel Kiper today, and he said the first quarterback.
I missed that. Yeah.
I missed that. You can go pull it up on. Oh yeah, it was crazy. Oh, Here we go. We got some folk cap for life.
Okay.
He said all right. Saturday night to his train. Okay, he trained for the offseason for this. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Did he train in Buffalo? Did he go to Canada? Hey, in reference to the thank you so much for the caption and the comments there. I just think that the Dolphins got to make some adjustments. They've been running a lot of the same plays, and the defenses have just caught up to them. When you looked at the all 22, it's almost like San Diego was in the huddle. Like they knew exactly, like when you look back at the stats for Tua, okay, he was 10 for whatever it was for 24. But if you look at the all 22, it was like, wow, nobody was open. It was like you had safeties over the top and the corners underneath running the same patterns as Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So what that means is that Mike McDaniel has to make adjustments. You can't just release 3 wide receivers into the patterns and then max protect all the time. The linebackers, like they did in the San Francisco game, are dropping back like 15, almost 20 yards at the snap. They're racing back. So therefore, okay, you got to run some wide receivers underneath or get the running backs out of the backfield, or Tua's got to run more. And until he starts running more, they will not respect him, and they'll continue to drop back as far. I think he had his best rushing game in the year, 30 yards, because he doesn't run, but they know that they think he's not going to run, or he's not going to do anything to extend the plays. And that's not something that he's strong at. But if you're only sending 4 wide receivers out in the patterns, and you've got, 7 or 8 guys dropping deep, you got to have that running back to dump it off, or Tua's going to have to run the ball.
Right.
And you got to make some the crossing patterns. I even thought about it. If he's healthy, I know one thing you do. Go ahead and sign Odell Beckham right now. That will change the entire complexion. Yeah, I said it.
Did you no? Did you see that Dallas gave him a once over and was like,
I say they got Hilton. So I'm just saying, I'm like,
they picked up T.Y. Hilton today.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton, right? So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Now they're not respecting the third wide receivers if they're dropping all of those people back in coverage. You need someone that's going to demand some attention. And he might be the person. He definitely will demand attention. That is if he's healthy. But, I'm not saying that that's what we actually need to do. It's just a thought. But Mike McDaniel has to now make the adjustments, because now the defenses have caught up to us. What are we going to do in Buffalo? Man, I can't remember the last time we won in Buffalo, man.
It's cold up there, too. Let's continue to talk about the future of the NFL. Young man right here, Bryce Young. Now,
do you draft him?
He is eligible.
Do you draft him in the first round?
They said he's the consensus #1 pick, and they said that Houston will actually draft him, which ain't a bad look,
right,
for Houston.
Well, I guess I might need to ask myself that question, because I am competing for the #1 pick right now. And if my team continues to play like it did this past week, scoring 212 points, then yeah. So the question would be for me, with having Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson as my quarterbacks, do I draft him?
The thing about it is, we can put him on a taxi squad for 2 years before.
Correct.
Yeah. So, for folks out there, a taxi squad allows us to almost pretty much redshirt a player for 2 years on our team, not have to roster them, but after 2 years, they have to be rostered or put in the pool. So if you want to hold on to Kirk Cousins is on his way out, Deshaun is, he's going to be around for a second. So, when Kirk Cousins is on his way out, you move him up, and you still got a great backup.
Well, let me ask you this, because you have Justin Herbert, you have Malik Willis, and who's your other quarterback?
From Detroit.
Okay, yeah, Golf. Do you draft Bryce?
I don't. I wouldn't.
You don't. Right. You wouldn't draft him in the first round. Now, maybe in the third round if he's still sitting there, which he will not in a 16-team league. But yeah, he won't be there if you don't piss. He's not going to be there in the second round. So he's going in the first round in our particular league.
Oh yeah, he's going to definitely go. But they've got the kid from Kentucky. He's going to be there. The guy from Tennessee. We'll go through all of those a little later, but I wanted to definitely bring Bryce into the place, because he was a Heisman Trophy winner last year. Didn't even get a pick for it this year because, of course, Alabama wasn't as good as they usually are.
Right. So, I don't know, man, if I should be talking about my draft choices, because we got owners in our league, man. I can't be giving out that information.
You Switzerland.
Look at it. I already got my draft. You know what I mean? I already got. Look who's got the fire. Look at that.
Okay, I see you.
Is it reading right to left?
It's reading left to right.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Left to right. Right. Exactly. Yeah, you saw I had that, and I had that up there before he won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, so the thing about it is, we will be starting to talk about next year for the draft, because Combine is coming up. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to see what the running backs and the wide receivers, the tight ends, the linebackers, the DBs. And you say, well, why are you talking about linebackers and DBs? Because the version of fantasy football we play is called IDP.
Yeah.
Individual defensive players. Yeah. So we actually roster a defensive lineman, a defensive back, and a linebacker. So we will be talking about those positions, probably about the top 5 in each of those positions, top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs, all the way down the line, because people that are playing dynasty leagues that are doing IDP want to know exactly, okay, what's the best linebacker that's coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, kid out of Alabama.
Get out of
That guy's a beast. But we'll get a chance to research all of those things and talk to you guys about that.
And I think I enjoy this so much because you love your defensive line, linemen, linebackers.
They ain't show up this week.
That's right. I think he didn't show up. And there's another. I can't say anything right now because I'll be putting my business out there. But I am so pleased with the fact that they finally showed up. Myles Garrett scored 37 points for me last week by himself. 37. Yeah. Did y'all hear me?
Yeah, it's 37.
37. And I think TJ Watt scored like 20 points for me. So that's 57 points from my players that I drafted in the 5th and 6th round, I believe. And I decided to go with them as opposed to some J.K. Dobbins. Remember him? He was on the clock. I think Judy was on it, even though Judy balled out this week. He had 3 touchdowns. I decided to pick those guys over those positions because those guys were averaging 200 or close to 300 points a year. Now, both of them, it was down. TJ Watt was hurt most of the season. Myles Garrett got in the car accident, and he's been dealing with it. So basically, it was a down year for them. But that's my starting defensive lineman and linebacker. And my defensive back, Snead from Kansas City, is the number 1 defensive back in the scoring defensive back in fantasy football in our league. So my defenders are straight. So when I go into the draft, I'm looking at where I'm weak.
Where your holes are. Where are your holes?
Exactly. So, and, Jonathan Taylor didn't do what we thought he was going to do this year. So that's supposed to be my number 1 back.
You can trade him.
Yeah, I could trade him. Or I'll be looking for the running back in the 1st or 2nd round in the draft coming up. So
definitely, if you get the 1-1, you can choose what you want at that point.
But I need to upgrade my number 2 wide receiver position. So a lot of my guys are hurt in their 3s, 2s and 3s.
Right.
So, not great 2s and 3s, but I can package those up to trade up or something in the draft or trade somebody.
That's because we general managers in this thing.
Exactly. But, I'm kind of confident, if Deshaun comes back and plays, as a top 5 quarterback next year, Tyreek Hill is my number 1 wide receiver, and you already know what my defenders are. I'm looking pretty good.
All right, well, good stuff, man. Well, I mean, it don't take long, man. We're past that. We're past our time now.
Did we go through everything?
We pretty much went through everything. A couple of injuries we didn't talk about. I mean, Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson both in concussion protocol.
Did you see when Russell? I thought of Sierra.
I didn't see it. I
thought of Sierra immediately. Like if you go back, I saw it in real time. When it happened. Okay. So he's running towards the end zone. In fact, he scrambles, goes out of the pocket, sees the end zone, thinks he can make it, and he's diving and running towards the goal line, and he's around about the 2 or 3 yard line and gets hit from the side, which propels him into the ground. Like he hit the ground like boom. And as soon as he hit the ground, motionless. And then you see his wide receiver, like you see him jump up in the air, and it's like, you heard him. You could just tell that he said, damn, he knew he was knocked out. Soon as I saw him, he was there flat. And then the camera zooms in. You can see his eyes are just glossy. His mouth looked like it was bleeding a little bit.
I did see him on the sidelines later giving people pep talks. So
right. But did you see the knot on the side of his head?
No, I didn't see the knot.
Yeah, man. They showed the knot, man. They showed the knot, man. It was like right here. It was up there. It was like, whoop. But he was walking around, so he was coherent. So I was just waiting to see. Okay, they're gonna let him back in the game because it always comes back to my Miami Dolphins now. It comes back.
They're not letting nobody back in the game.
Exactly. But what happened last night with Devontae Parker got knocked silly. They let him line up. He was lined up, getting ready to get him for another play, and then they had to escort him off the field.
Hold on, player. Come on back.
Where the spot is at? I'm still mad, man, because
come on back. Bring him back.
Because it comes back to my Dolphins, man, when they let Teddy Bridgewater, he gets hit on the side in the first play of the game against the Jets, and then the spotter said he stumbled, and we're still looking for the stumble and can't find it. He out of that game. We end up losing that game.
Look at it, man. They on serious watch for for people getting hurt now. So
got me upset. Got me upset, man.
Let everybody know how they can follow you.
Hey, well, you can follow me on Star 94.5, Orlando's only R&B, and that is Monday through Friday from 3 to 7 p.m. Notice how I put my radio voice on right there.
Yeah.
And on Hot 105, and that is in Miami, and I'm on there Saturday nights from 6 to 10. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Lorenzo Thomas, IG at Lorenzo Ice-T, ICETEA. And that's about it, because I got kicked off of Facebook. So I don't even know if I'm going back.
I'm trying to figure out how you get kicked off of Facebook.
Man, no, someone hacked me. I got a serious hack because they hacked my email too. They hacked my email, which was connected to one of my IG pages, which was also connected to my Facebook page. So I think they put some pictures and stuff up there that were yeah, exactly. So I haven't been able to go back, and I really haven't really tried. But the only thing is, like, unfortunately, I think we talked about this off the air last week when one of our.
I still didn't say what's going on. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, when we lost one of our old classmates last week. So basically that communication has been lost. So I may just go ahead and just start a totally new page and build it from the ground up, and this way that those people that are my friends will be really my friends.
Right. Well, I'm about to get it. And you can find me at the Dirty South FFL on Twitter. Make sure that if you're catching us on replay, to subscribe and to hit the notification bell. So when we start to post our new content, which will be every Tuesday at 8 p.m., you'll be the first to check this out and be a part of the show, because we love for our viewers to, check in so we can shout you out and do things of that nature. And, of course, you can catch me on 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM, the app on the Odyssey app. I'm on every night doing overnights. Let me put my radio voice on. You can catch me on Friday night. It's the house party with DJ Ebony. And don't forget to catch me each and every Saturday from noon to 2 p.m. on 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM. And you get that on the Odyssey app. And we'll see you guys next week.
Hey, I guess since we have our radio voice, we gotta find our sports talk voice. You know what I mean? There's a radio voice, there's a television, voice.
Your sports talk voice is the barbershop. We hitting it, we talking just sports.
Is that it? Is that what it is?
It's the barbershop.
All right, well then I need.
Is Jordan better than LeBron?
Nah, man.
It's the barbershop talk.
All right, so maybe I just need a little more of those inflections. Nah, man. I got Michael, man. Michael, man. Yeah, and Muhammad Ali's the greatest of all time.
Oh, hold on. Before we go, I did watch one of my boys. Actually, he's part of our fantasy football league. Rich, our guy Rich. He hit me up last night. He said, "Man, you got to turn to ESPN2." Bruh, they had a high school game on. It was LeBron's kid.
Wow.
Versus,
I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. I watched the whole game.
Wow.
LeBron's kid. It was Scottie Pippen's kid. It was Penny Hardaway's kid.
What about D Wade's kid? No. The one that he got one to play. The one that plays basketball. He has one to play basketball, right?
We want to talk about.
Not Zaire. Is it Zaire?
Zaire is the one that.
Right. Not her. Talk about. It's another one, right?
Yeah. The older one. Yeah. He's probably playing. He wasn't a part of that group, but you also had what's my man Lala's son? Gosh, I can't think.
Was Lala there?
Kim Kardashian was.
Wow.
She don't miss a beat.
Wow.
One thing I'm going to talk about Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, Carmelo's kid was there. Carmelo and Lala's kid was playing against, it was crazy because to see all of the dads, the legends, and their children playing in a high school game, and LeBron's son showed out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
LeBron's son
That's great to see.
Ronnie showed out.
Woo.
Ronnie showed out. But Kim Kardashian, she looking for the man. I swear she was looking good, but she was in play for all of them ballers, them dads.
How old are her daughters?
Oh, her daughters.
How old are they now?
The oldest one has to be close to being a teenager now. Got to be.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the guys that are in high school.
Oh, so what you're basically saying? She's prepping her kids. She's prepping her kids. She's prepping her.
That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Like her mama prepped her.
You gotta find out what the age differences are.
Oh yeah, because Carmelo's. But you think the crazy thing about it is Carmelo's kid, Lala and Kim are best friends.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure
they're gonna want to keep that money in the family too.
They want to keep that money in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I ain't mad at Kim.
It can't be. I ain't mad at Lala either.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, Kim is there? She ain't got nobody playing basketball. And then they showed Scottie Pippen. They showed LeBron. They showed Carmelo. I was like, okay,
it's all business.
For the next Vic.
It's all business for her.
It's all business. It's all business.
Wow.
Hey man, I tell people all the time, the first man that's recorded in the Bible gave up his God for a woman. So
that's true. That's true. That's true.
Just eat the apple, hey, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, my